I welcome you to Maryland Washington Minority Company's third quarter members meeting. Thank you for coming, and the purpose of this meeting is to keep you informed, to educate you as to what's going on in Baltimore City. Believe it or not, Freddie Gray, the city is a hotbed for development and opportunities. We have apartment buildings that have broke the ground in downtown. That's going to be 36 stories on the 300 block of West Baltimore Street. How many of you knew about that? That is a shame. We have other office buildings conversions about to take place. We have a 48-story building that's going through the design at BDC that has received approval. It has to be elevated now above sea level because we do have the opportunity to flood in this area. They've passed that. A developer is getting financing, and that building is going to go up in the next 12 months, or at least break ground. We have private developers like Kevin Plank and Scott Plank and their Sagamore development that are asking for TIFs. How many of y'all know what a TIF is? Raise your hand. A TIF is it's a financing instrument that developers crave because it helps leverage the amount of equity that they put in initially. And when they ask for TIFs, what does that mean? That means we got to have minority and women business goals. That's number one. That's number one. We also have David S. Brown. We have Michael Beatty Development. They're breaking ground or about to break ground on projects. We have BGE's Focus 25, the most unique, empowering training program ever to hit Maryland, and I would say the Mid-Atlantic region and perhaps the nation, to empower minority and women-owned businesses to learn how to do business, to negotiate contracts, to learn how to be safe. It's never happened before. We have, which you'll hear about later, Johns Hopkins coming on board with Hopkins Local. I mean, when you hear about that program, it's gonna blow you away. And the reason I call it the flow down. Their largeness is going to require those doing business with them to procure with women and minority business to the tune, I heard, of 40%. Never been heard of before, but it's happening right here in Baltimore City. In and around the city, for those of you who know about Lexington Market, I think that's almost a 200-year-old market. It's a $30 million renovation project planned. It's being planned right now. The prime contractors are being evaluated to determine, and I understand that the teams are coming in with minority, majority, JV participation. Never before has this been done. Cross Street Market, the Plank brothers are getting involved. That's going to be $140 million. They're coming out of the sky, and they're going to put a green garden on top to grow vegetables year round. It's never been heard of in Baltimore, but it's about to take place. Baltimore's Gateway. How many of you know where Baltimore's Gateway is? Raise your hand. No, you know Baltimore's Gateway. If you come in and off of 295, we call it the BW Parkway, and you hit Russell Street, and you see the Horseshoe Casino, well, we call that Horseshoe Boulevard now. All of those little industrial places are being converted into fun places, to entertainment. I guess we gotta entertain ourselves if anything else. But these are the opportunities that you can get involved in. The Baltimore City School Construction Project. Gosh, Stephanie Rawlings, she created that $1.2 billion program to do what? To create at least 17 new schools and 24 major renovations. Well, the first 11 opportunities have gone out. We have some of the contractors who won on that. They're here this morning. And now more than ever, and I raise my right hand, now more than ever is the time to get certified as a Baltimore City minority or woman contractor. Why? Because on most of these projects, if you're not, you won't be able to take advantage of it if you're not city certified. Now, I'd like to thank everyone for coming this morning, our members, our guests, our prime corporate partners, and speakers. And I'd like to thank Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake for taking time out of her busy schedule to be with us this morning. Stephanie Rawlings-Blake was sworn in as Baltimore's 49th mayor on February 4th, 2010. In November 2011, she was elected to her first full term as mayor, receiving 87% of the vote in that mayoral general election. She served as City Council President from January 2007 to February 2010. She was first elected to the City Council in 1995 at the precious age of 25. She was the youngest person ever elected in the history of Baltimore City Council. Mayor Rawlings-Blake became the 73rd president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors in June 2015. Recently, Mayor Rawlings-Blake has decided not to seek re-election to a full second term in 2016, leaving many of us saddened. However, part of her legacy is that she has kept a sound fiscal management of Baltimore City. She's created revenues to pay for our aging water system. She's created the bond fund. I mean, no other institution, no other subdivision in the state has done this. Uniquely going to the General Assembly, getting them to agree to back a $1.2 billion bond to redo Baltimore City Public Schools. Economic growth, she's just been fantastic on, and minority business protocol has been front and center. Ladies and gentlemen, happily, I give you our mayor, Stephanie Rawlings-Blake.
Good to see you. Wayne, that was a wonderful and very generous introduction. Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. I truly want to thank Wayne for your leadership as a president of the Maryland-Washington Minority Companies Association, for everything that you do to advocate for minority and women-owned companies. Your work is legendary in the state, and I'm very proud, and in the region, and I'm very proud to be here with all of you. Where are my cabinet members? Do I have any? Yeah, Christine. Oh, and Rudy Chow. You talked about the water system. You want to clap for Rudy now, too? Are we good, Mr. Chow? Director of DPW, and Christine Bivens with my Minority and Women-Owned Business Entrepreneur Office. And I want to thank the other members of my team who are here. Paul, it's good to see you, and all the work that you're doing with small business. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you just for a few minutes about a very important topic to me, and that's minority and women-owned business firms in Baltimore. One of my top priorities in my administration is ensuring that all businesses have the opportunity to compete and to succeed on a level playing field. Our small minority and women-owned businesses are the backbone of Baltimore's economy, and I remain committed to working every day to support these businesses and the jobs that they create for Baltimore's residents. As we look at the jobs that we've been able to create over the past 5 years, many of those jobs were created, or I should say most of those jobs were created by small business, so it's no mistake, and it's not by accident that we are here, that members of my administration are here to support the growing, as I said, the backbone of our growing economy. And that's really why I convened the Advisory Council on Minority and Women-Owned Business Enterprise. Their report, A New Day, A Better Way, provided recommendations that will continue to enhance the city's MBE program and our small business inclusion efforts. I also formed the Coalition of Supplier Diversity and Inclusion to build upon the work of this advisory council. They also advise the city on matters related to inclusion, diversity, and they assist with implementing many of the advisory council's recommendations. The coalition, working collaboratively with city agencies, have taken on action items that will significantly improve the business climate for minority and women-owned businesses. A few of these include formation of my Mentor Protege program, the first of its kind initiative that will foster partnerships among successful large enterprises. This is something that Mr. Frazier is particularly interested in, correct?
You know.
Yeah, I got it. He toasted to that. Also, emerging small and minority and women-owned businesses. The establishment of the Urban Solar Task Force to develop a pilot program action plans that utilize the best public-private partnership models to fully finance and promote large-scale installation of solar panels. And I can say that this is one of the programs that has so much promise to me as we continue to look for ways to be a more sustainable city, and we continue to look for ways to improve the quality of life for all of Baltimore's residents, to go and to hear from residents who are working with limited income and see that the change, that change that happens when they're able to save money on their energy bill, it means a lot to them. And while it might not be a lot to a lot of people, this program is helping Baltimore families, and I'm very grateful for that, because it's helping Baltimore families with their energy bills, but it's also helping because the solar panel installation is also a part of a workforce training program. So it's providing jobs, providing training, and it's just a big circle of growth for our city. So the program also is ensuring purposeful inclusion of small minority and women-owned businesses in this high-growth industry. We're collaborating to enact legislation to allow minority and women-owned business prime contractors to count their participation on contracts towards MBE and WBE goals. Unbundling contracts to allow for greater participation by small minority and women-owned businesses, especially as prime contractors, and continuing to work towards ensuring prompt payment of all city contracts, because we understand we have an obligation to pay our vendors in a timely manner for the services that they render. Of course, city government contracts are far from being the only way my administration is working to help small minority and women-owned businesses. The bully pulpit that I have at City Hall enables me to push private companies in our city to work toward developing inclusion goals that help lift everyone up. More significantly, for those projects that receive city assistance of some kind, I've worked to ensure that they include significant commitments towards MBE and WBE goals. We've seen the results of those efforts in such projects as our casino, and we're now seeing the benefit of that work in the development of Harbor Point, a project that Mr. Frazier was very instrumental in working with my administration on those goals, and I want to thank you very much. So before I conclude, because I did promise I would just take a few minutes of your time, I want to take a moment to specifically recognize Johns Hopkins University and Johns Hopkins Health System and President Ron Daniels for the recent announcement of their local build, hire, and buy initiative. The Hopkins local plan includes a major new commitment to MBE and WBE firms and has the potential to make a real difference in our city. And I applaud Johns Hopkins institutions for stepping up at this critical time in Baltimore. Thank you again, all of you, for the opportunity to talk to you about my commitment to women and minority-owned firms. I look forward to continuing to work with businesses large and small to ensure that the city continues the momentum towards fiscal sustainability and long-term growth, while continuing to strengthen our small minority and women-owned businesses. I can tell you that I was raised by someone who believed in inclusion, who believed that all of us, and particularly minority firms and women-owned firms, deserve a seat at the table, and he fought for those things viciously and aggressively. And one of the things that gives me a particular amount of pride as I serve in my work in public service is to be able to carry on that tradition and to be able to do so with people like Wayne Frazier, with many of you, has certainly been one of the things that I've enjoyed most about my time in public service, because I know that it's more than about networking. And Gene, you just missed my shout out to Johns Hopkins, so somebody will tell you all about it. I did make a nice shout out and a thank you. But it's not just about networking. It's about wealth building. It's about legacy building. And the work that we're doing here, the jobs that we're creating, the opportunities that we are creating will have ripple effects for generations to come. And I know that you all understand that very keenly, and that's why you're here. So you have my renewed commitment to ensure that we continue this progress. I expect that, Wayne, you'll continue to hold me accountable for the progress that we say that we intend to make, and I look forward to our partnership as we grow Baltimore. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes.